everybody, welcome you all at Learning is Fun with Prajnaparamita. Today I am going to discuss a very important topic because this topic is very common in any type of examination, any type of competitive examination as well. So what is this topic? Yes, this is prepositions. Because in any kind of examination, prepositions is a very common topic. And how we can correct it? Because we just have some problem while using preposition properly. And we often memorize the list of appropriate prepositions. But without knowing the logic, if we memorize them frequently, you may forget them as well. So, no more memorization. Today, I am going to tell you some simple tricks to remember the prepositions and their use in proper situation. So, watch this video lesson till the end and know all that shortcut to remember preposition properly. So, stay with me till the end. First, I am going to tell you about two prepositions that are about and of. Here, I am going to tell you how we use these two prepositions with here. Okay, here about means to be told about something. When we are talking about, we are be told or we are told by someone about something, we use here about. What is the examples for you? That is, did you hear about the fire at the hotel yesterday? Here you find when we are using hear about, we actually wanted to share the information. That is, we actually wants to about the information of something. That is the fire at the hotel yesterday. Hear about means when we are talking about some information which was told to you by someone. So here you have to use hear about. Now hear of. What is the meaning of hear of then? Hear of, know that somebody or something exists. This is a very important when we are talking about somebody or something exists. That is he may or may not be exist, or you know that thing. That means you have to use hear of. So let's see the examples here. Who is Tom Hart? I have no idea. I never heard of him. I have never heard of him. Here, I don't know about Tom Hart. So, in that case, if you don't know about something, the existence of something or somebody, you have to use hear of. So, hear about some incidents which is taking place in past. We are talking about this, and you may be told by someone about that thing, you have to use hear about. But hear of, that means you don't know or something or somebody exists or not. In that case, you have to use hear of. That is, here I have never heard of him. That is, I don't know him. In that case, you do not use heard from him. From is not appropriate here, and now I am going to tell you why we don't use from instead of. So here, hear from, be in contact with somebody. That means when we are in contact with somebody or we get some news or information about somebody, we use hear from. Let's see the example. Have you heard from Jane recently? Yes, she called me a few days ago. Here, heard from, that means you get some news or some information about Jane because she called or phoned you few days ago. In that context, you have to use hear from. So this is the difference. Hear about something which is told to you or be told to you do something by someone, we have to use hear about, and hear of when we don't know, or we know something or somebody exists or not. In that case, we have to use hear of, and hear from, that means you know some information about someone or somebody. Now, this is the time for exercise. Now, do this. Did you dash the accident last night? Yes, Vicky told me. In that case, here you have to use a preposition, appropriate preposition for here, and obviously it is hear about. That is, you heard that accident, the last night accident from Vicky told you. In that context, when you are talking about, you hear something from somebody, you have to use about. About is about some incident, and you are told about that incident from another person. In that context, you have to use hear about. Now, Jane used to call me quite often, but I haven't dash her for a long time now. Here, what is the correct answer? Here, heard from. Why? Because here I'm just wants to tell you, or I just wants to inform you that I don't have any news about that particular person named Jane. So here in that context, you have to use heard from. Next, have you dash a writer called William Hudson? Here, you just wants to know if you know this person or not. In that case, of course, you have to use heard of. Here, you have to use of instead of from or about. Just remember these short tricks. Now, this is the exercise for you. Thanks for your mail. It was good to dash you. Do you want to dash our holiday? Not now, tell me later. Or, I lived in a small town in the north of England. You have probably never dashed it. So, these are the exercise for you. Try this exercise, and if you can able to do this, post in the comment section. I definitely reply, and I want to see how much you can learn from these easy tricks. So, next, think about and think of. Why or where we use these preposition with the verb think. Now let's see. When we are talking about think about, we actually means we are considering something, we are contemplating about something. That is, when we think about something, we consider it, we concentrate your mind on it, something. That is, we contemplate or we consider of something to do something or for doing something. Here are the examples for you. I have thought about what you said, and I have decided to take your advice. So here, I have thought about what you said. That is, I have contemplated. That means I have contemplated or I have considered about what you have said, and now this is the point of, there is a thing to have take some decision or something like that. In that case, if you mean contemplation, consideration, you have to use think about. Now, when you think of something, the idea comes to your mind. That means you think of something, that means the idea comes to your mind, that I think of you. That is, I try to remember you or just remembering you. Here the example for you. It was my idea. I thought of it first because this idea came to my mind first. When you are talking about think of something, that means something occurred to your mind. Now here, you don't say think about it. It was my idea. I thought about it is not the correct choice. If you use think about, it is not correct, because think about means contemplating or considering, but think of, that means occurred to. So The next, we also use think of when we ask or we are asked or given an opinion. So when we are just giving an opinion or somebody asks some opinion from you, you have to use the verb and prepositions like think of. Let's see the example. Here, what did you think of the movie? I didn't think much of it. Here, that means the speaker just wish to know your opinion about the movie. So, think of means here to judge or to want some opinion from you, and here you have to use think much of it. That means you didn't like it, or you didn't think very good about it. So here it means you didn't like it much. So instead of saying this, you didn't like it much, you can say that I didn't think much of it. That is, you don't like it instead. So next, the difference between think about and think much of is very small. That is, we can often use both think of and think about in a similar situation. Let's see the situation now. When I'm alone, I often think of or about you. Both are the correct, but here you find that the idea occurred to your mind. It means I think of you. That means the idea of you or your idea occurred to me, or I am just contemplating about you or contemplating on your presence or something related to you. So in that case, you can use both of or about. If the word or if the context is just like remembering something, you can use both think of and think about. We can say think of or think about doing something for possible future action. So if you are talking about your possible future action, you can use both think of and think about. So let's see the example. My sister is thinking of or about going to Canada. Because here, going to Canada, this is a future action or future contemplation occurs to the mind of my sister. So in that context, you can use both of or about. That is, she is considering. Now, complete the sentence using here or her plus a preposition that is about, of, or from. So here, you look serious. What are you dash? That is thinking about. Here, you look serious. That means, and what are you? What are you? That is, what is going on in your mind. That means what are you considering or contemplating. If the meaning of the sentence or if the context of the sentence points to the fact about consideration or contemplation, in that context you have to use think about. Now, I need time to make decision. I like to dash things carefully. Here, again think about, because you judge something, you considering something, you contemplating something, it is related to your decision. So here also you have to use think about. Next, that's good idea. Why didn't I dash that? So here the correct answer is think of, not think about, because something occurred to your mind. Why didn't it occur to me? That means why didn't came to you first, or why didn't come to your mind first. This is for that reason here the context is different, so you have to use think of. Now, these are the exercise again for you. You try to solve this exercise at home, and please just send it in the comment section if you think it necessary. I will check and let you know how much you can understand this video lesson. So, next for you, that is dream about. when we are talking about dream about, we actually means when you are asleep. So when you are asleep, if somebody not just wants to know about your dream, in that case you have to use dream about. Here, I dreamed about you last night. Here, this is related to my dream and sleep as well. But dream of or about being something, doing something, that means you are imagining something that is related to your imagination. So here, when it is dream, the verb, and you have to use, you can use of or about if the situation is related to your imagination, not your dream at night, not your, if the verb dream is related to your sleep, then you have to use the preposition about. But if these prepositions or if this verb points to your imagination, then you have to use either of or about. Here, do you dream of or about being rich and famous? Here, this is your imagination. Here, dream is used with the preposition of and about. That means your imagination, your future planning or future imagination. I wouldn't dream of doing something. This is again a very important thing. If you find wouldn't dream, and then you have to use preposition of, because you would never do it. Here, don't tell anyone what I said. No, I wouldn't dream of it. That means you will never do that. In that context, if it is the meaning is that I would never do it, so you have to use dream of. That means you will never do it. Complain, another verb, and with this verb you can use the preposition to when you are complaining to somebody about something, that say that you are not satisfied. Let's see the example. Here, we complained to the manager of the restaurant about the food. So we complained to the manager of the restaurant about the food. Here you find complain to somebody, the manager, and about the food. Okay, so complain to somebody, and in that case you have to use about something you are not satisfied or you don't like something. Now, complain of. When we use complain of, we actually just mean a pain, an illness, etc. Say that you have a pain or illness, etc. So, complain, with complain, another preposition can be used, that is of, but the meaning is different. That is, when you are talking about illness or pain, you have to use complain of. So, let's see the example. We call the doctor because George was complaining of a pain in his stomach. Here you find complaining of. So of a pain in his stomach. So this is the point. Now remind somebody about. That means tell somebody not to forget. I am glad you reminded me about the meeting. I would completely forgotten about it. Here, reminded about. That means to tell somebody not to forget. In that context, you have to use about with the verb remind. Next, remind somebody of. That means cause somebody to remember. This is a very slight difference. Here in the first case, you find someone told you that tell somebody not to forget, but here in that case, you are the cause, or something is cause for somebody to remember. If you see the example, it can be clear to you. Here, this house reminds me of the one I lived in when I was a child. Here you find reminds of, that means cause somebody to remember. It helps somebody to remember. That is a resemblance of the house the person lived in his childhood. So in that context, if the verb remind is a cause somebody to remember, you have to use preposition of when you are talking about something is cause somebody to remember. Next, look at this photograph of Richard. Who does he remind you of? That is, the photograph of Richard may remind you something else. In that case, may resemble something else or somebody else. So, in that case, you have to use remind of, not about. Now, warn somebody about a person or thing which is bad, dangerous and unusual. So, warn about. With the word warn, you have to use about when you are talking about warn about a person, warn somebody, that is the somebody about a person or thing which is bad or dangerous. So, let's see the example. I knew he was a strange person. I had been warned about him. So here, not warned of him. You don't say warned of him, because it is somebody warned somebody about, because you are warning some person, warning him about some person, that is that person is bad. So in that case, about the strange person, so in that case you have to use warn about. Next, Vicky warned me about the traffic. She said it would be bad. So, Vicky warned me about the traffic. So, you are or somebody, you have to warn somebody about something. So, in that case, you have to use warn about, not warn of. You don't say, Vicky warned me of the traffic. This is not the correct use of preposition. Here, warn somebody about or of a danger, something bad which might happen. Look at the difference. Which might happen. It is not happened. You are not sure. Which might happen. So, in that context, you can use both about and of. But if you are quite sure about the person or something which is unusual, dangerous, bad, you definitely use about. But if you are not sure and which might happen later, there is a future. The sense of futurity there denotes some future thing. You have to use either about or of. So this is a very minute difference. You have to understand very clearly. If you just do any kind of mistakes, you just lose your marks. So here are the example for you. Scientists have warned us about or of the effects of climate change. Here, the climate change is not happened yet. So it might be happened in near future. So in that case, with the word warn, about and of, both prepositions can be compatible. But if you are quite sure that person is bad, and if you are if just warning somebody, so you have to use about. So look at the difference and understand the difference. In the first example, there is a surety and certainty of being dangerous and bad and unusual. But in case of second example, you find there is a possibility. It is not happened yet. When there is a possibility, you have to use about and of with the word warn. Hope you like this video lesson. If you have any queries regarding this verb and preposition, please do comment in the comment section. I definitely reply them. So, no more today. Thank you for listening and bye-bye.